Hey YouTube, Z38 here. We're going to be talking about how to use Thresh's ultimate. I've been playing a lot of jungle and ADC in some lower elo games, and I've been noticing like a lot of Thresh players making a lot of mistakes with his ultimate, and there's just some quick tips that you can really do to make yourself, be really good on Thresh. It kind of differentiates a decent Thresh player from like a really good one. So we're just going to jump into it. There's 4 different strategies I'm going to go over with you guys. We're going to talk about using Thresh's ult in a team fight, whether you're engaging or whether you're peeling. Peeling is just like giving room for your ADC, so that way they can like output more damage. We're also going to talk about looking for a pick with his ultimate, and we're also going to talk about running away with his ultimate, like when you overstay. So first things first, his ultimate obviously is just like a box. It slows them for 99% after they get hit, which is pretty nuts. And obviously it's just like a box right around him. So there, oh wow, my ping is like 100. Okay, so of course the first thing you want to think about is the surface area sort of thing. So like you want your ult to be as big as possible, excuse me, and you want them to like obviously run into it. So let's say there's a team fight going on. Just move over faster. So ulting like over here is obviously, not that good. It's kind of self-explanatory. But also, I feel like a lot of Threshes would ult here. Like trap 2, that's good. You can trap, but like this is obviously the best because if your team's over here, they have to run through your ult to still get to your team. So like this is a really good place for Thresh ult just based on like surface area. And of course like if the enemies are probably like over here more or over there more. But like where you want to look for the Thresh ult is where there's big surface area. So I'm just gonna kinda run through the jungle here, showing you like some good places to ult. Like here's a really good spot because you can get all 5 walls up. So there's an opportunity for an enemy to hit every single wall pretty much. So again, that's kind of like almost a no-brainer-ish, but it's something to pay attention to when you're ulting because I think a lot of Threshers just press R without really thinking. So another big thing now that we're at the dragon pit is, so let's say they're like doing the dragon and everything. A lot of Threshes are gonna try to make this hero play where they hook in and then they press R almost like right away and see what happens. Okay, forget the, pretend I like hooked in from over here. They ult right here. So the problem is this ult doesn't really do much in the dragon pit. So if you think about it, okay, I'm gonna not take damage this time. If you're ulting right here, what enemies are actually here? Maybe they're jungler, and maybe they're like top laner or mid laner. What you need to do is, if you're like making this type of play, you actually want to run up a little, because their carries, their carries are going to be like over here, and maybe their jungler is going to be here. So your team is going to be collapsing from like over this side, right? Or maybe like from over here. So if you're ulting right here, like on top of dragon in the pit, that's not really doing much for your team. So whenever you kind of get into this play, you want to try to flash into the carries, maybe box them up, so that way it makes your team easier. It makes them easier for your team to collapse on. And obviously a good ult is right here because it kind of blocks the pit. It splits people who are in the pit and out of the pit with this wall, or even like something like this. Like just like around the entrance is really good when the enemy's like all scrambling around there. And furthermore, another good box is like over here because it blocks off, let's say you're doing the dragon, so like let's say the roles are reversed. Now you're doing the dragon and now your team is here and the enemy's looking to collapse on you. Ulting, like taking the extra 2 steps to ult over here, basically ensures your team a good path to safety, or a really good engage if the enemy decides to try to engage through the box. this out. Oh my, really? I didn't know this was a thing. Okay. Okay, well, I'll just let that happen, I guess. So, again, like, ulting over here is actually pretty good because you're not going to do a lot of damage to the dragon. And like that, those two auto attacks, like I'm doing maybe 60 damage or something. So it's better to walk over here, get a good position so the enemy can't collapse on your team. So again, just to like recap, being engaging, try to get the most surface area you can, aim for their carries. You can flash play in box, or you can like flash box, look for a hook play. Like there's so many different combinations you can do, but it's important to look for their carries and get as much surface area as you can. Around the pits, try to look for the entrances of the pits, or try to flash into their carries, or like even the outside of the pits over here is really good. Okay, so now we're going to talk about peeling in a team fight, and I'm going to actually bring up a scenario that happened to me in a real game. So let me just do this real fast. Okay, so an allied is here. Okay, so I'm in this scenario. The enemy like just took Baron. My ADC is over here, and so what happens is my ADC is like a Kog'Maw or something. We have like a Darius, a Wukong, and I think a Gragas maybe, but like they don't have flashes up or anything. So first thing I do is, since this is a Kog'Maw, he has a big range, I ward over the wall, because that way he has vision of the whole surrounding area. So their team's looking to collapse in, and I press R here, and like they can't do anything. So see how I'm giving my ADC space here? I'm giving him this whole box of space where they have to run through it and through me, so I can flay, I can hook them when they get slowed. This is like a really important concept. So if their whole team has like 4 assassins and you really want to peel your ADC, this is like a really good position. You want to stand in front, and especially in like a choke point like this, it's such an ideal spot. I think in this scenario, I think I might have died, but Kog'Maw got a triple. So it's really important to look for these types of opportunities. Now, furthermore, let's say we're just like over here. Let's say they have like an enemy Evelynn and an enemy Talon, and your team's like pushing up. Kog'Maw is obviously sitting a little farther back. You can ult on top of him. So this is really good because it'll stop the assassins from coming in. So let's say Evelynn lands a charm. Let's say you have like your red trinket, you're sweeping, you see Evelynn like over here. You press R, and if Evelynn wants to go in, she pretty much will die if she like doesn't have her ult up, or maybe, and she won't be able to get the kill because she'll just get slowed so much here that she just won't be able to catch up and do the damage and get her E off. And same with Talon. If Talon ults and you see like his blades over there, press R on your ADC. Talon's gonna try to probably engage through the wall, but it's gonna lead to his demise. So again, for peeling, you want to either, like if the enemies are all over here and they're trying to engage, give your ADC room, or if they're like on the sides of you, maybe behind you, just ult on top, and that works out pretty well also. Okay, now we're gonna talk about looking for a pick. So we just went over some team fighting. Now let's say this is like a 35-minute game. You're doing Elder Dragon with your team, and oops. You're doing Elder Dragon with your team. 2 inhibitors are down. You see 3 enemies farming. Okay. You see like 3 enemies farming in their base or something like that. Then you have to figure out what you want to do here. So like you're just doing dragon, and obviously you're going to be looking for a pick, because if they're showing, like if they have 3 enemies showing in their base and you have 5 here, you're going to want to like kill one of them, because if you slay Elder and kill one of them, then you end the game, right? It's a 4v5 and you have Elder buff. So ideally you would kill their jungler, because that way the jungler can't smite away the Elder buff. So let's say you're just like doing dragon, and then their jungler walks over one of your wards here. Oh. Their jungler walks over one of your wards here. So, looking for a pick, you're going to like lantern, maybe hook, or maybe you can like flash over the wall. And in this scenario, it's okay to use your ult just for one person, because you want to secure that this guy definitely dies. So like, if he dies, let's say he gets if he gets away with 20 HP, then it's still a 5v5 again. And, you know, it's not a guaranteed win. They might be able to outplay, maybe they outscale you guys, so the Elder buff doesn't do that much. Who knows, but if you can ult here and ensure that you get the pick on him, like you slow, you lantern in your Darius, and, you know, it makes quick work of it, that's really good. You really want to make sure you're using your ult smart, like, wisely, and when you're looking for a pick, just make sure if it's a big pick, like if it's important, if there's a big objective coming up, like Baron or maybe Rift Herald's up, and you see that you catch out their jungler, use your ult to kill their jungler just to secure it, because killing their jungler will allow you to get Rift Herald and not have to worry about them smiting it away, or get Dragon and not have to worry about them smiting it away. So it's really important to know like when to use your ult to look for a pick. And again, it's okay to use it on one person if you can get an objective out of it. Alright, last but not least, we're going to be talking about the classic. You are with your entire team, and you're all taking this tower. You all have Baron up. I don't know why, it's always like this tower when you have Baron up. I feel like in my mind, that's always the scenario. And they're all respawning, they're all like running down here and here. And, you know, you're sitting here with your team, and for some reason your team just has to kill this tower. Like, they can't just walk away, they have to kill it. So they're sitting here autoing it. You're all sitting on like 2,000 gold. You all have no ultimates up, and you're getting chased down. So now the enemies are super close. They're like over here. Your whole team's getting engaged on, and they're just gonna run you down the lane all the way, and everyone's gonna die. So you can actually prevent that. If you ult like right here is a really good spot, because the enemy is going to be running down and you're blocking off like the inside track, right? And most of the time the enemy isn't going to take the time to try to squeeze by here, because most character animations are like so big that they're going to actually hit the wall. See how like Thresh is hitting the wall still? Like, there is a little room here, but like I'm still hitting the wall, so it's still gonna hit them. So doing this basically means that the enemy has to walk around this, which means it takes them what, like 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi to run to like the outside track, while your team can be running on the inside track. And then to catch up, they have to change back to the inside here. So that takes like another 2 seconds. So with this ultimate, you're basically buying your team 4 seconds of time, which should be enough for them to get away after their stupid overstay when you like spam ping them back and they still don't listen. So yeah, so this is like a really good ult to use whenever you're whenever you're getting run down. This spot is just like golden right here. So yeah, again, we went over. I'll just do a real quick recap. When you're engaging, you're gonna look for the enemy ADCs, or like enemy carries, I mean, and you're gonna look for the most service area. So if you're fighting, let's say like in this lane here, and like that's their carry, if you ult here, I'm going to report you, and your team should also. You should be like flashing, boxing, like throw your lantern, get in that Darius to be right next to that Vayne. It's an easy win. And furthermore, if you're trying to peel, so let's say like your ADC's here, the enemy team's collapsing from over here, use your ult to like give them space. And if there's assassins, you can ult on top. If you're looking for a pick, let's say this is their jungler and it's like a 35-minute game, Elder Dragon's coming up, use ult just to make sure he gets slowed so your team can catch up and kill him. And finally, when you're running away, even in a situation, so we went over like the lane situation, even in a situation where, let's say your team's doing dragon, and let's say remember the enemy team is going to be engaging onto you. Well, instead of ulting like over here, let's say, maybe you're so squeezed on time, maybe you're only 2 people or 3 people alive, so you really need that extra damage on the dragon. Their whole team's running in, there's no way you can fight. Ulting right here just stops them from being able to chase you. Like, they cannot chase you into this. Like, they'll just stop down their tracks and you'll get away scot-free. Same thing with Baron Pit. Just, don't be afraid to use your ult. Someone doesn't have to hit into it. All it has to do is create space and, ensure that you and your team live and can carry the game. So, that's it. If you have any comments, like, hopefully you learned something. If it was helpful, leave me a comment. Definitely like, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you next time.